last time we started with this section اللي هو complex pattern of inheritance. Today we are going to make a quick revision for this section. Then we have to start with a new lesson, which is section 3 and chapter 7. Okay. First of all, let's make this quick revision. We were talking about complex patterns of inheritance, and one of the patterns that we learned before from Mendel was the dominant recessive pattern of inheritance. But not all the phenotypes follow this pattern. Many phenotypes are affected by different factors. Okay? Yes, Yasmin, can you give us what other types of patterns of inheritance we have? The first one, I said that it was incomplete dominance. Can you explain for us, referring to this figure or picture, what is the meaning of incomplete pattern, incomplete dominance pattern? يلا يا لجين. What happens during incomplete dominance?
Okay.
Yes.
The parents each would be homozygous, while the offspring would be heterozygous between, like, as if it's blended between the two parents.
Bravo. يعني neither of the parents allele is totally or completely recessive or nor completely dominant. The heterozygous offspring will be in between. And when you talk about this type of pattern, you should remember the wall which has colored by two mixed paints. عملنا mixing لليellow والgreen. Then we paint the wall after mixing. That happens exactly in this type of pattern. Okay? What is the other type of pattern of inheritance, ya Murad?
It is codominance.
Okay. What does remind you with? What do you remember when you talk about codominance? Which wall?
It reminds me about the wall with separate colors.
يعني striped. مقلم صح؟ Striped. One stripe yellow, one stripe blue, one stripe yellow, one stripe blue. So you show two colors. يعني what that means in this pattern, how the genes are expressed, the alleles of the genes, how they are expressed in codominance, يا مراد. Dominant ولا recessive ولا completely dominant, how they are expressed in genes. يعني
they are expressed.
Yeah.
Both traits are fully expressed.
Yes.
Separate.
يعني both alleles, two alleles هم الاثنين are expressed completely. You can see both colors in the same offspring. تمام؟ إذا الفرق بين incomplete dominance والcodominance إنه incomplete dominance بتكون in between. هو offspring will have will express the gene as it is a bit in between of the genes or alleles of the parent. أما codominance لا. Both alleles of the parents will be expressed. You will see them both, مش mixture of them. هلا بهدول two examples what is happening exactly هو interactions between alleles. الاليلز نفسهم بصير بينهم interaction. مرة بتعطوك incomplete dominance أو codominance. اوكي؟ تمام. One example of codominance هو برضه البلاد جروب. البلاد جروب احنا قلنا انه we have 4 blood groups and alleles that contributes to these blood groups هم 3 alleles. يا I capital letter A يا I capital letter B يا اما I small. هدول ال 3 alleles. احنا each one will have 2 of these alleles. في AB blood group it will have 2 alleles. عندها ال A وعندها ال B and this person will show the 2 alleles. لما نعمل فحص الدم راح يطلع عنده antigen A وantigen B. فالcodominant برضه we can see it in a blood group phenotype. Okay, any question till now? هلا قلنا كمان في عندي trait are result of مش interaction of allele، لا many genes interact. هدولاك الدومينانت والكودومينانت، الانكمبليت دومينانت سوري والكودومينانت هم interaction of allele. اما في عندي انا trait they are result of gene مش allele as a gene. كل الجينز له interaction بكون عندي polygene، في عندي منهم polygene traits. Polygenetic traits هم من traits that are controlled by many genes زي color of skin, color of eye. اوكي هدول polygenic traits. فعشان هيك بكون احيانا انا عندي mixture of colors of the eye. وعندي الابيستاسيس برضه هي عباره عن polygenic trait which is controlled by many genes, and if a gene exists اللي هو بنسميه epistatic gene, it is exists, it will stand still all the expressions of other genes. يوقف عمل ال other genes، وهذه بنشوفها بالالبينيزم مرض البرص. اوكي؟ Are you okay till now guys? Any question till now? Yes.
No.
الابيستاسيس هاي ما فهمت كثير.
الابيستاسيس هو برضه هي polygenic gene. اوكي؟ polygenic trait يعني زي عندي ال fair color in this what do you call this hedgehog. Okay, this hedgehog animal the color of the fur is expressed by 5 genes. تمام؟ في عندك جين مسؤول عن ايش؟ عن الشيد of the fur. في عندي جين مسؤول عن البيسك color of the fur. في عندي جين مسؤول عن السبوت if there are any spots or any other color in the fur. في 5 genes بس إذا طلع عندي one of the 5 genes اللي هو بنسميه epistatic gene. If you have this epistatic gene, هذا epistatic gene will stand still يعني stop the expression of other genes. يسكر كل الألوان في أول بقيم لون الفر والشيد و everything وبيعطي لون الوايتنس. And we see this in كمان in humans الالبانيزم. تعرفي الالبانيزم in humans؟ هلا إذا عندي أنا مثلا offspring أو children they inherit this gene from a parent. لازم يكون عندهم two recessive genes. إذا عندهم two recessive genes من ال two parents تطلع الأولاد عندهم هذا المرض الألبانيزم. فهذا الجين إذا انوجد اللي هو الإبستاتيك جين، هذا الجين is going to stop all the expressing of other genes. فهمتي يا سديل؟
I've seen like one person in Jordan who has albinism. يعني أنا شفت واحد before. Yeah.
هذا بيكون عنده هذا الإبستاتيك جين.
تمام.
اوكي؟ هذا الإبستاتيك جين will stand still all other genes. يوقف اللون العيون والشعر وكله والشيد. احنا بتكون عندنا الكلر of skin والهير والايز بيكون عندي range of colors. ممكن يكون white او brown، ممكن تكون الايز green or greenish or bluish or hazel. لا.
Does it affect their health?
الكلر بيكون brown بيكون blonde. هذا الجين if it exists in a person it make an effect بنسميها epistatic effect. ليش؟ لأنه it block any other gene that express the hair color and eye color and skin color. تمام؟
هلا miss does it affect your health الالبينيزم؟ لا صح؟
إيش؟
الالبينيزم does it affect your health؟
I cannot hear you. Affect why what? My what?
Does it affect your health?
Your health?
Yes.
I don't understand the question, miss. Really? Help of what? Sudhir? Hello, miss. Can you hear me?
Yes.
بحكي لك if it affects your health الالبينيزم.
Your health?
Yes.
your health. الهيلث. هلا شوفوا يعني ممكن يأثر على sight لأنه you cannot look directly in the sun ممكن it has some effect. You can search for this and tell us tomorrow what other effects on health. Okay?
تمام.
هلا في عندي كمان شيء not only the interaction between alleles, not only polygenic or polygenes can affect the phenotype. في عندي كمان another factor, very important factor that affect the phenotype هو environment. لأن environment قلنا interacts with genotype and it affects the phenotype. أنت عندك genotype لجينز معينين من your parents. هدول الجينوتايب it will be interact with the environment.
Good morning, miss.
Good morning. With the environment that you live in. وقلت لكم example وانا عندي twins identical twins. I take one هذا عنده نفس الجينات تبع identical twins. بس I take one to live in Australia وواحد حطيته في أفريقيا. واحد أول شيء temperature مختلفة. كل environment is different. The source of food that they will eat is different. ممكن واحد will eat better food than the other بيطلع مثلا ممكن يطلع more taller. ممكن واحد يطلع very white color اللي بأستراليا واللي بأفريقيا يكون dark skin ممكن. ففي عندي sometimes the environment has a high effect on the phenotype because it interacts with the genotype. وحكينا example زي عندي أنا sea turtle في عندي turtles بتعيش بالبحر هدول depend six of the sea turtles depend both on genes and on the environment. The female turtles make nests on beaches تعمل النست على البيتشز and bury their eggs in the sand. The eggs that mature in warmer temperature develop into female turtles. The eggs that mature in cooler temperature develop into male turtles. تخيلوا؟ فأنا عندي الانفايرمنت أثرت على السكس of the sea turtle. اللي صار الإيجز اللي صار عندهم burying في warmer area طلع أكثرهم female turtle. الإيجز اللي كان عندهم were buried in cooler temperature طلعوا male turtle. فالانفايرمنت أثرت على الجينوتايب. فدائما تحطوا في بالكم إنه الجينز والانفايرمنت interact to determine a human trait. هلا in general, what are the factors that affect the phenotype? يلا, what are the factors that affect the phenotype? يلا, who can tell me? What are factors that affect the phenotype of a trait? يلا يا عبد العزيز. عبد العزيز.
Yes, miss.
يلا عبد العزيز قل لي ايش الفاكتورز that affect the phenotype يعني صفة مثلا phenotype زي ال color of the skin. ايش هم الفاكتورز that affect the phenotype اللي بتأثر على الصفة اللي انت بتشوفها الفينوتايب ايش هم؟ ايش هم الفاكتورز؟
Miss, with the environment.
الانفايرمنت one factor برافو لأنه الانفايرمنت interact with the genotype مع جيناتك and make it affect the phenotype. تمام هاي واحدة. ايش كمان؟ What other factors that affect the phenotype يا لجين؟
The genotype and the alleles.
الاليل صح الاليل interaction زي انا عندي بهاي اللي هي incomplete dominant صار عندي interaction between the allele فالphenotype was affected ما طلع ال offspring لا زي ال ولا واحد زي البيرنت طلع mixture between the parents فكمان factor that affect the phenotype اللي هو interaction of allele ايش كمان what other factors that affect the phenotype تعرفين شو يعني phenotype مين بيقول لي شو يعني phenotype guys يس يا زلمه
phenotype
yeah.
phenotype I think
example of a phenotype that you have
the color of the hair, color of the eye,
the color of the eye, the color of the hair يعني هي a trait that you can see صح؟ طيب هدول التريتس that you can see they are affected by many factors by the genes. أول إشي interaction of the genes. Sometimes we said إنه في عندي أنا جينات أو في عندي trait inherited in a pattern يعني بنموذج معين اسمه incomplete dominance. في هذا الباترن شو بيصير عندي؟ ليش أنا بتطلع عندي الفينوتايب هيك mixture؟ ليه؟ لأنه زي هاي، ليش طلعت mixture؟ لأنه هذا الباترن صار عندي interaction between the allele. الأليل صار بيناتهم interaction فأثر على الفينوتايب. تمام؟ So, as a result, the phenotype is affected by many different factors. Can depend on interactions of alleles. And also, many genes may interact to produce one trait. فبتأثر على الفينوتايب. زي قلنا السكين كلر والهير كلر والاي كلر. وبرضه الانفايرمنت. إذا 3 factors that affect the allele. أول شيء interactions of alleles. ثاني شيء interaction of genes بالpolygenic trait. وثالث شيء الانفايرمنت when it interacts with genotype. We understand, guys? Any question for this lesson? Any question, Leif? Do you want to ask or say something? Your mic is on. If you don't want to say anything, mute yourself, please, Leif. Leif? Hello, Leif. Can you hear me? Okay. So, any question, guys?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Leif. You want to say something? Do you would like?
Hello, miss. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me? Any question, guys? خلينا to answer the questions quickly. How is incomplete dominance expressed in a phenotype? Yeah. How is the incomplete dominance expressed in the phenotype? أنا عندي incomplete dominance. كيف هذا incomplete dominance expressed? Yes, Lojane.
The offspring would have traits or colors different than the parents.
مش different بتكون mixture between them. بدكم تحكوا انتوا انه بالincomplete dominance neither parent phenotype is expressed. ولا واحد منهم بيطلع completely in the offspring. Neither. Instead عندي third intermediate phenotype in between. إذا بالincomplete dominance هون لا none of these parents, neither of these parents genes were expressed. الoffspring ما طلع لا زي هاد ولا زي هاد. لا طلع عندي third genotype. هذا الجينوتايب كان ايش؟ in between او mixture between the two parents. نسميه intermediate between the two parents genes. صار عندي interaction. Is it clear, Lujay?
Yes.
إذا neither parental phenotype is expressed. Instead, a third intermediate phenotype is expressed. اللي هو mixing color. Why might polygenic traits vary more in phenotype than do single gene traits? ليش؟ Why إنه عندي لما يكون عندي polygenic trait it might more vary. تلاقي كثير في اختلافات في polygenic traits than السنجل. Yes, مراد. Yes, مراد.
Because it's affected by many genes.
برافو، عم بيأثر عليه many genes، فبتلاقي varying. في العين لون العيون بنلاقي كثير في الوان ممكن تكون موجوده بدرجات معينه. نفس الشيء السكن، نفس الشيء الهير. Thank you, مراد. Explain how interactions between genes and the environment can affect the phenotype. هذا انا حجاوبه. لما يصير عندي interaction بين الجينز والenvironment, genes provide a tendency towards a phenotype that the environment can alter. هلا انا هذا ما بدي اياه السؤال بهذه الطريقه، بدي تفهم انت انه الenvironment ممكن تعمل interaction مع الجين and affect the phenotype وتعطي examples عليها بس. How is codominance the same as having no dominant and recessive relationship at all between two alleles? ما برضه هذا السؤال خلينا نحكي بطريقة ثانية. How it is expressed بالcodominance. How it is expressed in the offspring. يلا. How the codominant pattern is expressed in the offspring. زي نتذكر احنا الوول اللي بيكون فيه two stripes yellow blue. How it is expressed? Yes, Murad.
بالcodominance, both traits are expressed separately.
Both, bravo, alleles of the genes, مش traits. Both alleles of the gene are expressed and show the phenotype. You will see both of the phenotypes of the parent. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. طيب هلا خلينا I want to start with the new lesson, guys. احنا today we are going to start take introduction على this lesson which is gene linkage and mapping. Okay? Gene linkage and mapping. Who remembered what is the meaning of gene linkage? احنا we learned about this before. مين بيتذكر what is a gene linkage? Who remember? خليني اعمل share. يلا. Who remember what is the gene linkage? No one? طيب I will remind you. احنا we learned before in the genes sometimes because they are very close together على الكروموسوم and they can inherit it together. Do you remember now? زي مثلا بكون عندي جينز الكلر والاي كلر مثلا والشيب of the wings for a fly. هدول بيكونوا الجينز very very close together على الكروموسوم كثير قراب على بعض ف they are inherited together. Do you remember this when we talked about this before in the previous lesson? Section 1, do you remember? فرجيكم زي هذا الإكزامبل. لا هون it's not clear. I will show it to you. Okay. طيب gene linkage I don't have here it's not here بس خليني أشوف. I can open it from here quickly. Okay. Is my voice clear for you?
Yes.
طيب
Yes.
I will open it.
Yes, miss.
المشكلة الإنترنت is very low. I will draw it for you here. هاي أنا عندي chromosome. Okay. This is a chromosome. في عندي part على الكروموسوم. هدول إيش هدول؟ genes. Okay. These are genes. Different genes. هلا إحنا قلنا we learned إنه إذا كانوا genes like this one and this one they are very close to each other. نسميهم linked genes. They are linked together. So لما يصير عندي inheritance أنا عم تنتقل كوراثة most of the linked genes أغلب الأحيان they are inherited together بكأنهم ملزقين في بعض بيكونوا and they are inherited together. Do you remember this? When we learn about this thing before قولوا لي أو لا.
Yes, I remember.
Yes, all of you.
Yes, miss. Yes.
Yeah. طيب هلا هذا gene linkage and mapping the scientists have make experiments after Mendel, okay, and this gene linkage is not it was not discovered by Mendel. لا كان في عندي geneticist اسمه مورغان. هذا مورغان discovered this gene linkage. يعني he discovered that some genes are close together on the same chromosome and they are linked together. Okay? And most of the time, not all the time, most of the time they are inherited together. I will show you now a video to show you how this geneticist اللي هو Morgan, how did he find out about the linked genes. كيف عرف انه في عندي linked genes او gene linkage. I will share it with you بس انا عندي مشكلة في اللودing takes time. I think it works but just a minute to are you sharing. Let's see how Morgan find out about this gene linkage.
What happens when you keep a peeled banana out in the open?
Guys, is the voice clear?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. طب
Yes.
هنعمل شير مرة ثانية just 1 minute guys. ما عملت شير للساوند عشان هيك. 1 minute. Okay, again. Yeah.
What happens when you keep a peeled banana out in the open? The banana gradually deteriorates and we find several tiny creatures hovering over it. These tiny creatures are commonly called fruit flies. They're annoying, right? But did you know that these small wonders are one of the most powerful tools for geneticists? Sounds hard to believe, but these fruit flies are used as model organisms in genetics. Let me tell you an extremely important and unbelievable fact.
يعني هدول fruit flies بالنسبة لنا إحنا for humans, they exist in our homes. They are annoying a lot, okay? But they are very important in the genetics. They are used as model organisms. They use them in many experiments to find out, and they found out already about genetics. Let's see how.
Did you know that the common fruit fly, Drosophila melanogaster, and humans have genes that are almost
هدول اسمهم العلمي. الفروت فلاي بالاسم العلمي هي دروسوفيليا ميلانو جاستر. مو مهم تعرفوه طبعا. اوكي؟
60% similar to each other?
تخيلوا احنا as a human and this fruit flies عندنا 60% similar genes. اعطيكم example من similar genes مثلا الاي كلر. احنا عندنا جينز للاي كلر والفروت فلاي عندها كمان ايز فعندها برضه اي كلر. اوكي؟ فاحنا عندنا 60% similar genes of the fruit fly. شوفوا سبحان الله.
You heard me right.
بس ايش الفرق؟ هلا هم عندهم 4 pairs of chromosomes، احنا عندنا 23 pairs. The human احنا عندنا في كل سيل 46 chromosomes يعني 23 pairs. هون عندهم التوتال number of chromosomes 8 chromosomes يعني 4 pairs. بس احنا الجينز 60% similar to this fruit fly.
Just a total of 8 chromosomes in this tiny creature contains around 60% genes similar to the humans. And not only this, but the fruit fly is also used as a model to study the most serious neurodegenerative disorders, including Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
تخيلوا انه هدول الفروت flies they use them عشان to study about some degenerative disorders يعني امراض بتصيب النيرفس سيستم زي الباركنسونز ديزيز والالزهايمر. هدول الامراض they find about it من الدراسه على الفروت فلاي. تخيلوا.
Alzheimer's. So this little creature is nothing short of a miracle for us. But who thought of using these tiny model organisms for experiments? The use of Drosophila melanogaster as model organisms dates back to several years. However, the organism rose to fame with the experiments to the father of experimental genetics, Thomas Hunt Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
Following Boveri and Sutton's chromosomal theory of inheritance, Morgan and his colleagues carried out many experiments on the common fruit fly, which served as further confirmation for the theory. Let's have a look at what experiments he actually performed and what results he got. For that, let's travel back in time and reach the early years of the 20th century. It was around the early years of 1900s that Thomas Hunt Morgan started working on fruit flies with a determination to find something new. Did he really find something interesting? Yes, he did. One fine day, in a vial containing red-eyed flies, Morgan found something strange. He could spot a male fly with white-colored eyes. Morgan knew that this is a special type of mutant, and the experiments with this will lead to a new path in genetics.
شو عمل؟ He found one time في هو طبعا he's growing flies عم بيعمل على experiment على flies. مرة one of the time he found a fly with white colored eyes. عادة بيكونوا red colored eyes. فشاف إنه هذول this is a type of special mutant. يعني طفرة صايرة إشي something strange happening. He want to make experiment to find out that this will lead them to something. يعني هاي الدراسة for this strange mutation or for this mutation will lead him to something. فبصير يعمل عليها experiment.
So how did he plan his experiments? What was the procedure? Let's find that out in the next part. Imagine you're working in a lab with a little fruit fly. One fine day, you find an unusual mutant among the other wild types. The wild type means the ones normally found in nature or the natural forms to be precise. So the mutant form means the ones that have undergone some random or unusual.
يعني الوايلد تايب هي التايب النورمالي فاوند اللي هي انا عندي الفروت فلاز النورمالي فاوند بتكون ناتشرال فورم هو لقى between these types اللي هو mutant type اللي هو فيها something different سموها random mutation, one with random mutation.
Usual changes. For example, red eye color is the natural or wild type of variety in fruit flies. But the white eye color is a mutant form.
الطبيعي احنا نشوف الفروت فلاي الاي كلر تبعها ريد. لما نشوف وايت معناته this is something different. في شيء mutation هون فيها.
So what would you do if you find a mutant type of fruit fly in a vial one day? I'm sure anyone would simply grab the opportunity and begin experimenting with this unique variety. The father of experimental genetics, Thomas Hunt Morgan, was not an exception to this. One fine day, he found a unique mutant in one of his vials while working in the lab. The mutant was a white-eyed male fruit fly. Soon he realized that the exclusive mutant was an ideal model for carrying several experiments that would lead us to new paths in genetics. Let's begin understanding how Morgan carried out his famous experiments on the fruit fly, which later proved the chromosomal theory of inheritance better. Morgan crossed the white-eyed male with a wild type, that is a red-eyed female.
إذا أخذ الهاي white-eyed male عملها cross مع الريد اللي هي النورمال اللي هي red-eyed wild type.
F1 generation had all the offsprings with red-colored eyes. This showed that red eye color is a dominant trait. Okay.
Mr. Lara, back the link.
Morgan stepped ahead to cross the F1 hybrids. It was a 3-to-1 ratio.
Sorry, Abdulaziz, what did you say?
Mr. العربي بعثت لينك.
Okay, حبايبي, I will see you. Thank you for joining.